Breaking news, Putin is buzzed by a UFO. This is a crazy story. Get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. Please hit like, please subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified of future videos. Please share this video when it drops on social media, and consider following me on Facebook and Twitter. See the links below. And comment on the story as I'm going through it. Okay, so this is an article from the Daily Mail, breaking news just today, February 4th. Putin is buzzed by color-changing UFO spotted by 4 Russian planes as he makes a speech threatening nuclear war against the West. Pilots in multiple Russian planes reported a UFO buzzing Volgograd when Vladimir Putin visited the city on Thursday. The extraordinary accounts say the unidentified object changed color and height in the sky. Intriguing. And the UFOs that have been over Ukraine lately that I've talked about multiple times, they have been called the phantoms in the cosmics, which are spherical UFOs. Some appear very bright and some appear very dark. Chris Lato has proposed that they are the same type of craft appearing at different points in the atmosphere. Excuse me. So moving on, a report by Telegram channel. But yeah, so the point is that this is a different sort of craft, potentially. A report by Telegram channel Aviator China said the UFO was seen and reported to the aviation authorities by the crews of 4 separate passenger planes. Intriguing. Passenger planes were saying these, not military. Why were passenger planes flying overhead when he's giving a speech? I guess it's not directly overhead. Putin had flown to Volgograd under close security to attend ceremonies linked to the 80th anniversary of the Battle of Stalingrad in the Second World War. The incidents came as the dictator hinted that the conflict in Ukraine could turn nuclear, following the West moves to apply Kiev with major supplies of tanks. Is it Kiev? Kiev? What are we supposed to call it now? I like Kiev. He said, "We don't send our tanks to their borders, but we have the means to respond, and it won't end with the use of armored vehicles. Everyone must understand that. A modern war with Russia will be completely different." Well, God, I hope not. Aviator China channel reported the crew of an Airbus A321 of S7 Airlines operating flight whatever from Sochi to Moscow 12 minutes before reaching Volgograd at an altitude of 10,000 meters reported that they observed an unidentified flying object at right angles to the plane on the left side. Interesting. Right angles. Does that mean it was staying at a consistent point? I'm not quite sure what they mean by right angle. The object was changing color and height in the direction of movement. Changing color and height. Okay, interesting. I mean, UFOs often change color. I mean, that is a thing. The channel monitors air incidents and added, later the crews of Aeroflot and gives the flight numbers. Flights confirmed that this information after flying near Volgograd. The Rosia plane crew estimated the distance of the UFO at around 125 miles. The sightings were reported to air traffic control and civilian military authorities. The competent authorities have been notified since no flight plans were provided in the specified area at the time. Permission to use the airspace was not issued. The S7 crew reported the timing at 19:08 Moscow time on Thursday. The timing of other sightings were not precisely revealed. Okay, all right. Other sightings, interesting. The 1908 sighting was around 3 hours after Putin's arrival and occurred as he took part in the commemorations, which included his saber-rattling speech. It is known that the laser displays linked to the 80th anniversary commemorations were taking place at 1800, 1900, 1200, and 1045. Okay, so this sighting occurred 8 minutes after one of these displays. Yet the pilots would be expected to be informed about this. Yeah, you would think so. The Russian authorities have not commented on the UFO reports. The flights reporting the strange sightings were, and it gives the numbers. The flight paths took the planes to the east of Volgograd, formerly called Stalingrad. As all the air routings show major detours to avoid flying close to the war zone in Ukraine before they flew past Volgograd. Okay, so really interesting. And, you have to wonder if this has anything to do with the UFO that Russia supposedly shot down a couple of weeks ago. If that was a UFO or, a legitimate, non-human vehicle of some sort and not, a U.S. drone or a Ukrainian drone. The way it was described as a luminous spherical object having no visible means of propulsion, etc., does not seem like any drone known to man. That's not to say it was misidentified or, the story got exaggerated. That happens, fog of war and all that. But yeah, very intriguing incident. It would be very nice to know when those other sightings were, because apparently there were multiple sightings of this object, or are there multiple objects? Because there were laser displays at these 4 different times, and one of these sightings was just 8 minutes after one of these displays began. So you have to wonder if it was just part of the display. And if we knew what the other times were that this object or whatever, objects appeared, if they were close to these other times of these other laser shows, that would be highly suggestive that it was just the lasers. So, I'm going to say this one is, unclear, uncertain, unconfirmed, but you would think that multiple air crews would not make the mistake of identifying this object as a UFO if it were, lasers, and that they would be alerted to the laser show. They would know when it was going to take place, and they would not misidentify something as part of that, or the other way around. So, really, really cool, interesting thing, interesting situation, because we have so many UFO sightings over the Ukrainian war zone that we actually now have new classifications developed by the Ukrainian Astronomical Society for UFOs. I mean, they came up with the labels, the phantoms and the cosmics, because they were seeing these things so often. And then to have Russia actually shoot one of these things down seems to indicate that they weren't Russian drones. Could they be U.S. drones with some super fancy technology? Yeah, totally possible. I mean, I have made multiple videos in the last few weeks about how we have our own UFOs that we have been flying since the 60s, if not earlier. Although it seems to have been the 60s when it got started. The ARVs, whatever you want to call them, the human-piloted advanced craft that the beings seem to have helped us develop. According to one Lockheed Martin Skunkworks engineer who had friends working in the project, his name was Don Phillips, and his friends told him that they actually met with the beings, and the beings had helped them develop a training device or a vehicle, so that human pilots could be trained in how to fly these ARVs, these human-created, or with the assistance of the beings created craft for humans to fly. So we have had these advanced vehicles for a long time. So could this be some of our advanced vehicles? Absolutely, 100%. But, you have to think about it in another way, because if we did have this advanced technology in the 60s, what were we doing with that technology? Because we weren't using it during the war. Otherwise, we would not have lost Vietnam, presumably. So, it's hard to identify any times where these advanced vehicles have been used in any war zone. There have been numerous occasions where the beings have shown up during a war. There are many cases of that, many encounters that soldiers have had encountering the phenomenon. But that was very clearly anomalous and weird, and a lot of high strangeness around those events. Those do not seem to have been ARVs or human created in any way. So anyway, a very intriguing event. I will keep you updated if I hear anything else. And if you hear anything else, please let me know and drop a comment below. What do you think about Putin being buzzed by a UFO? Was the UFO warning him not to go to war? Because that would be the implication, right? He's talking about nuclear war, and the UFO, U.A.P, is saying, not so fast, muchacho. Which would go along with their whole theme of being very concerned and interested in our nukes and our nuclear capabilities. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Drop a like. Give this video a big thumbs up if you've enjoyed this content. Subscribe, hit the bell to be notified of future videos. Follow me on social media. And until next time, this is Jack with Cosmic Road signing out.